Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. This is Ursie. Hey, I hope you're having a great week. It's summer, July 2022, and here we are. Okay, well, before I get going on a little mini reading, I wanted to show something to you. Here it is. This is called a heart chakra egg. Okay, it's got the sacred geometry of the Star of David, and then it has crystals at each of the point with a beautiful crystal in the center as well. And so for me to activate or to enhance my heart opening, I do sometimes before a reading, invite the activation of this heart chakra to work with me before I go on air. And I bought a second egg, and here it is. This one is a very special egg for my throat chakra. So with the heart and the throat, I activate both of these, and it helps me speak from my heart and clear out all the other stuff, like the concern from my mind, like, is this going to be okay? Are there going to be problems? Instead, I just open my heart, say that prayer of blessing, and then allow my throat to open up. Now, these beautiful eggs are from Nancy Jean at Nancy Jean's Garden in YouTube. So if you're interested, she's got a whole little website. I'll put it in the information below. All right, so let's move on. Today we are doing a mini reading for Starshine Selina. Starshine. Thank you for your patience. You've been on the list quite a while, and it's wonderful. If you don't mind my saying, you are in the age range of my son. So it feels really great with someone of your generation to be able to open and receive this type of galactic awareness. You decide, of course, what you want to pick up and what stories you want to leave behind. So let's get started. Starshine Selina. Let me start by opening my chart. Here we go, or your chart. Now, again, if you're new to us for the first time, I'm working with what's called the Galactic or galacticastrochart.com. This is the rebrand for Julia Balaz's free online galactic calculator. And I just want to give another note. In talking to Julia recently, I asked her, I said, when we talk about the Akashic records of the earth, where let's say you go for an Akashic record reading, that is of the earth-based lives. And so it's this idea of what were my past lives? How does it inform this life? Well, in talking to Julia, who's based in Ireland, and I'm in California, I said, it occurred to me that what you offer through these soul connection galactic reports is really a glimpse into our individual, get this, galactic Akashic records. So the records that are not bound to our lifetimes on earth, but there's more of a repository of all of our soul journeys, or not all, but many of our soul journeys through the galaxy. I mean, we are so much more than we can ever believe, right? So hold that in your heart and chat in the comment box. What do you think? When you look at your own soul connections, do you sense this idea that it's a galactic Akashic record reading? Again, remember the word Akash or Akasha just means ether. It speaks to this idea of quantum, non-linear, outside of the third and fourth dimension. So why not? What we're doing in 2022 actually is redefining or reviewing and revisiting the language as we become more and more galactic citizens. All right, those are my two little cents. Let's get back to the chart for Selina, Starshine Selina. So here we are on the galacticastrochart.com website, and I have plugged in Selina's information, and then here is her what we call the basic report. Okay, so here, generate basic report. Push that button and out this comes. Now the star connections, I want to tell you, if you see these lineup, these names of constellations in our heavens, there's 88 constellations that we're working with right now in 2022, but 88 in the known world. This calculator doesn't include all 88 just yet, but is moving toward it. I think 57 was the last count for the constellations. Maybe that was 57 fixed stars. Excuse me for not knowing that, but here you see it's a living calculator. So Starshine, here we are. We're looking at where your most recent lifetime was before this incarnation as Selina. And what this says is this is your most recent galactic incarnation. All right, Centaurus. Then we see you've been other places like Orion, Lepus, Auriga, Hyades, Canis Minor, Canis Major, and a couple more in Lyra. But here, when we look at your Pluto line in Scorpio, and we come back to Centaurus. So this is your origin. This is where you began in this system, this galaxy in Centaurus. And then most recently, you went back home to Centaurus. And before I move forward, I want to just call out, see these two Pisces as well in Lilith and Vertex, the constellation Pisces, that's recently been added. Okay, so after we look at these are your strongest galactic connections, many of which you've incarnated in. Okay, the likelihood is very strong that you incarnated on planet in these constellations. But to look and find which fixed stars were you actually on, we then hit these two buttons here, which I've clicked, and we hit generate extended report. All right, takes a few minutes. Remember to scroll down, here we go. I'm gonna open the screen a little more. Let me start with Pluto. Okay, so your Pluto is sitting in the 9th house of truth, capital T, truth and wisdom. It's in the sign of Scorpio at 23 degrees. And remember we said, here's your galactic origin in this system. You actually were originating from Beta Centauri Hadar in the constellation of Centaurus. Look how tight of an orb, 0 degrees, 0.52 minutes. Wow. So then remember Beta Centauri Hadar, because every constellation has many fixed stars and each star has many planets, which have many moons. Okay, that's just some vocabulary that I've been practicing. But look up here, you went home. Starshine, you went home most recently. You have another conjunction to your sun in Scorpio, 26 degrees, 19 minutes in the 9th house. Something is being echoed here, right? The 9th house of truth, wisdom, it's the philosopher's house, but it's working with the sign of Scorpio, which is deep, deep water, deep feeling, you know, going underneath. And Beta Centauri, let's see, Hadar, 2 degrees, 27 minutes. So a little bit wider orb, but still the strongest line, because this is a conjunction. This is a trine, that's a square. You went home. I'm going to pause there for a minute. It's wonderful to see your chart because it's this idea that as a soul, I'm going to incarnate into this galaxy. Maybe I've been on these other galaxies or systems. I mean, our universe is so vast, especially if you look at the James Webb NASA telescopes. It's amazing, but that's just a glimpse. So the storyline, Starshine, is when you came into this Milky Way galaxy, you originated in the constellation Centaurus. It looks like a centaur, okay? But then on the planet Beta Centauri Hadar. So for your homework, because you not only originated there, but your most recent lifetime at your sun level, it's like you went home, like you learned all these lessons, been there. It's this idea of the hero's journey returning home. Oh, I'm getting chills just saying that. You know, look into Joseph Campbell if you want. There's various stages of what the hero has to go through to expand and grow. Well, your soul began in Beta Centauri and has recently, most recently, been to back home. So what does this say? It says, for others listening, if you happen to have the same thing, your origin and your most recent lifetime are the same constellation and the same fixed star, this is a very interesting narrative. And we'll just begin this idea of, well, what does that mean metaphorically and energetically? So I'm going to offer a little bit deeper in this mini reading. And I want deeper on this idea of what is Beta Centauri Hadar? So what did I do? I went, and I can't say this, how much I love this site enough. This is called Astrology King. Wonderful man named Jamie has set this up. Look, he's got 8,800 subscribers. If you want to know about fixed stars, consider starting here. After you see your report from Julia's online calculator, Centaurus, constellations and stars. So I'm going to double click. Oh boy, here we are. Here's the centaur. So, Centaurus. So you know the centaur is half man, half animal, looking like a horse below, right? So here is the constellation, and right down here, see this word Hadar on the left leg of the centaur. So this is one of the brightest stars. I think there's 3 bright stars in this constellation. You know, Starshine, if I were you, I would go look for NASA's images of the fixed star Hadar and see if it feels like home, like you remember, because there's certain colors, there's a frequency that might just come through. So let's see, I'm going to click out of the image. So now that you see the centaur, all right, I want to show you how to use Astrology King a little bit. And this is a program that Julia loves as well and refers to. So we see that this constellation sits between Virgo and Argo Navis and the constellation Lupus. If you start learning about the sky or the heavens, Virgo we know, Argo Navis is the ship, and Lupus is the wolf. All right. So what we do is go down here, because this is how I like to roll. I always like to look at what's the story? What's the story of Centaurus? And here, Jamie offers us on Astrology King a little narrative about the story of the centaurs, the horse, man, beast. Okay, many people remember Chiron as the wounded healer. That's more of a small planetary asteroid comet. I shouldn't say planet. It looked like a planet, but I think it's more of a mini asteroid. Anyway, so Chiron is the most well-known of the centaurs. He had more rational control over his beastly nature, of course, but not all centaurs do. So I'm just telling you the story. Here we go. We see this ancient, this is in the fixed stars, or the box of stars that I've been talking about. You can get this card deck, and down here you see its position within the greater heavens. All right, so here's the ship, here's the owl, the cup, the crow, you know, so it's like you're seeing quite a bit here. Yeah, and Lupus, Centaurus. So you can see the constellation Centaurus, Urania's mirror. Interesting. Okay, so it goes through this whole idea of what is the centaur, its place in history, etc. Oh, and here's our beloved um, Julia, and here is Jamie, the creator. Okay, and on the bottom here, Jamie recommends if you want to know more about fixed stars, here's some good books: Star Names, Astronomica, and The Witness of the Stars. Okay, here's one: The Three Centaurs. Yes. So let me go next to this site. So I just, because you're coming, yeah, let me stop sharing for a minute. Because you're originating and your most recent lifetime was on Beta Centauri Hadar, and I happen to have some of this quality in my energy field and my journey along the cosmos. Here are some of the key words so that you can remember and see how it lands with you. Some people say that this fixed star was the original Eden, Adam and Eve, Eden. And so this was heaven. It's a marker for utopia. So the Hadarian star seeds are quite rare. There aren't too many on the planet. What they're here to do is to hold this amazing energy of unconditional love. This is the kind of love that it's you don't have to do anything, you just emanate. Okay, it's the highest level of love. And so, pause for a moment. You may not see yourself, but you can always ask your mom or your family members, what was I like as a little child? Let's see, what did I write down? I wrote down, yes, Hadar was the planet of love. But here's the interesting story that you learn by reading a few Google stuff. And so just hold it for whatever it's worth. They say that the Hadarians were the ones who fell from the heavens onto earth. It's like, okay, you can think of Eden, right? And then after the fall, being thrown out and plopped onto earth. Okay, so this fall, but they were bringing heaven to earth through their fall. And I know that some of the readings connect ancient Lemuria and Atlantis with the Hadarians, amongst others. So the good news is unconditional love. The other news is, because we always have a polarity that we're working with, is sometimes all that unconditional love, you can become a doormat. You may not have healthy boundaries in relationships. You expect the other person to just love you the same way you show up in love. And so the prospect of either being manipulated by a significant other or you yourself turning into the manipulator. So it's that kind of a balancing act. And so whatever has shown up for you, hold it in the space of these are lessons. And now that I'm conscious of it, and this is my galactic origin, this is my essence, so all these other places you've been, great. But for you, Starshine, Selina, it's like this book ending, Beta Centauri Hadar, rare. What else did I write? Oh, this is fun. An energy healer. You can tap into energy from off planet. In other words, because your cosmic kind of vibration is about love, this universal love, and interesting, right? That it's in the 9th house. So much is happening in your 9th house. We'll go look at your astrology wheel, but that is about, the centaur ruled by Sagittarius, the centaur aiming his bow and arrow high into bigger realms. So see how this idea, Starshine, if you can naturally tap into energy healing. Did you do this as a child? Like if you have a sick animal, were you able to just kind of almost direct the energy to help support anyone or anything needing extra help? Very interesting, right? Okay, let's see, what else did I write down? So this is new. Okay, so guess what? There's 2 times a year where This will be optimal being a Centaurian or a Hadarian, Beta Centaur, Hadarian, starseed, November 16th, because I believe you're in the Northern Hemisphere. November 16th in the daytime is your time to really, that portal opens and you get this extra opening for communing with your family, your star family. Now you can do it anytime during the year, yes. Anytime in quantum, yes. However, in earthly time, November 16th during the day. Now the second point, May 16th. Again, this is for those who live in the Northern Hemisphere. May 16th is when the second opportunity to meditate with your Hadarian starseed family, but this time at night. Now, if you lived in the Southern Hemisphere, you would reverse that. You would use November 16th and connect with your star family during the nighttime. And on May 16th, you would connect with your star family in the daytime. See, because we're North and South hemispheres. So, oh, I hope that's not too much for you, but I got so excited. One of my big questions with practical wisdom from the Galactic is when can we meet our family? Who are they? Where am I from? And it'll help inform me knowing myself. Know thyself. Okay, what else did I write down for you? I think it's time to go to the astrology wheel. So let me pause for a moment. I'll be right back. Boy, I sure get excited doing these mini readings. So I'm sorry if I'm jumping around a little bit. I have very many mutable signs in my chart. But before I get to your wheel, I just had to go back to this site that I briefly blipped on. It's called awakeningstate.com. Now, I got to just tell you, I don't know this site, but I just put in Hadarian star seeds and traits and qualities, and this is what popped up. Okay, so for you, Starshine, this site might be interesting, but I don't really know it as far as like validity. But you see for yourself, what and who is Hadarian starseed? And then here we go. Special kinds of people being born on Hadar, home world. And so there you go. Here's the legend that Hadarians fled to Earth to avoid being enslaved. So they fell from their planet to Earth. Okay. And if as a person who has lived on the planet in former lives, that would be you. The world was similar, very similar to Earth. And they have a very strong bond with our planet because of this. So Earth must, I don't know if you spend a lot of time outdoors, but look at this. Don't you just love it? Hadarians are carriers of divine love's energies. Ah, I love that. All you need is love. Okay, and so this tells you about where you're from. Oh, and they even go into some physical traits that you may or may not have. You could read through those. Okay, I just wanted to show you this, that it does go through, okay, well, maybe somewhat introverted, pure-hearted, people-pleasing, integrity. But then again, there's always areas that you have to watch out. Okay, so let me stop sharing that for a moment and I'll go get your astrology wheel. Okay, here we are. I use astro.com and look at this beautiful wheel for just a moment. For me, it's one of the clearest indicators of this amazing blue grand fire trine, a fire trine. So that's a triangle here, equilateral triangle of fire. And look where it's pointing. It's pointing right at your ascendant, which is pointing right at your north or your true node. Okay, this is what you've come in to do. And it's Sagittarius rising. This is the centaur focusing his arrow, the bigger truths. My goodness. And not only that, here's the galactic center CGALA, Galactic Center, is conjunct your true node, which is conjunct your ascendant. So when I look at this and I tune into your chart, star seed Selena, oh, excuse me, Starshine Selena, holy mackerel, I get this feeling of the tip of the arrow itself. I get this feeling of fire, like you know how they used to take fire and put it on the tip of an arrow and then send it over? This is a very specific chart. And here's the interesting thing, right? You might want to, if you decide to look into astrology, look into what the meaning of intercepted houses are. So look at, here's your first house of self. It covers Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And then your second house starts a little bit of Pisces and comes up here. And this is getting squished. And then look at your seventh house of relationships. Ooh, it goes from number 7, it travels all the way up here. So some of this is because of where you were born in Finland. And so, I don't want to get too technical here, but let's look and focus on your sun, which is conjunct Hadar, which is also conjunct your Pluto. So do you remember how we said Pluto had that alignment with Hadar? That was your origin. And then we also said your most recent lifetime was in Hadar based on your sun. We'll see these 3 blue markers. That is what we see visually from Julia's written out report. Also, remember the 9th house of Sagittarius. It's remarkable. So we look at your ascendant, you're a Sagittarius rising, and Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. So here we've got Jupiter up here in the sign of Libra in a very big 8th house. Look at this. This is just a very focused chart. Yep. I'm going to stop sharing. So let's put some of the tea leaves together as we wrap up. And again, I've used Nancy Jean's heart to help me open up and allow what needs to go through. If I were you and I was a Hadarian starseed, beginning and end, I bookended myself, I've returned home. And then I have this tip of a spear pointing, the ascendant is navigating and guiding into the land of Sagittarius. So you've got centaur, you've got fire, and Sagittarius is a fire sign. Oh, I should go back real quick. I'm sorry. And look at your little chart here. So when we look at your box here, cardinal, initiatory. Okay, look at F for fire. Look at all this red, very strong on fire. Air, good, but missing air in mutable air. What that means is, how flexible are you with your thinking? Are you a little bit more fixed and initiatory, or can you maybe work more with, well, what else might there be? So being a little more mutable here. Earth is good too, cardinal, but fixed is empty. So fixed earth. Like, do you stay still? Do you hold space? Do you know how to calm yourself and meditate? Hold the space. You remember we learned about the Hadarians? They're able to connect in with energy healing from all over and other places. If you stayed still, fixed earth, plant yourself on the ground, at the beach, in the forest, you might be surprised what will come through in meditation. And then with water, your sensitivity and emotions, good, cardinal and fixed. But how are you with, you have nothing in mutable water. That means allowing the feelings to flow. Here it comes. I'm just going to tune in. I don't have to be afraid of the feelings that may not feel good. So that's just a couple of empty places. But overall, pretty focused, pretty focused. Let's see, your Saturn is in domicile, which means it's at home. You've got a happy Saturn, which is structure. Your Pluto is super happy because it's at home in the 9th house of Sagittarius. What falls and what might be challenged is how you speak and how you assert yourself. So that's what I want to wrap up. The last golden nugget is how you assert yourself. So if we remember about Beta Centauri Hadarians, having healthy boundaries in relationships, especially. Don't give and give and give until you're worn out is one of the lessons maybe for you to learn. With a Mercury that might be challenged, you might need one of these, how to open up your throat chakra, or you find your own way because you are a rare starseed on the planet here holding the light and love of utopia, of the great cosmic love. And if you don't mind my saying, of the love of Christ, the greater, not the pedestrian Christ, but the greater cosmic Christ. All right. Thank you for listening. I know this went a little bit ping pong pong, but I'm so excited. I've never met someone who's bookended. And as I evolve in my readings, you're getting to feel it. All right. See everybody next time on the Ascension Playground. Bye for now.